Hey everyone, welcome back to Immediate Movie Reactions. I'm here after seeing Gladiator 2. This is the, 87, 88, 89-year-old Ridley Scott's new Gladiator movie. And I thought at first that this was not necessarily a sequel so much as just another Gladiator movie. However, this is pretty closely tied into the original Gladiator movie. That is not to say that you need to see the first one in order to see this. They kind of sort of have everything make sense in this. I'm sorry, there's going to be some spoilers. And before I get too far, I always forget, please like, share, subscribe to all that sort of thing. And here we go. Anyway, Paul Mescal is someone. I can't even remember what the hell his name was, and maybe that was part of my problem. He doesn't have the gravitas that Russell Crowe did. Not that he's not tough, not that he's not cool, not that he isn't great in this movie. The character just didn't really seem to stick. There was like a lot of stuff happening around him and to him, and it wasn't necessarily a character that had a lot of agency, even though, and here's the spoiler, he is the son of Marcus Aurelius and Lucilla, and now he has come back because he was sent off at the end of the first movie, and then as a 12-year-old child, and somehow found his way and was raised in another Namibia, I think it was called, I can't remember, Northern Africa. And so we start out with Pedro Pascal leading the centurions and the Roman legions to take the city, and that kind of is all only there to get Paul Mescal into the Gladiator, because of course he gets captured, even though it seems like he very clearly could have escaped at the beginning. But whatever, that doesn't matter. They get there, and then he meets up with Denzel Washington, who is the Doctor. And by the way, Denzel Washington is also loosely related, not related, but connected with Marcus Aurelius, who was the Roman Empire a couple emperors before, when we come in the story where we're coming in. Who would have thought that Joseph Quinn, Eddie from Stranger Things, would one day be a Roman emperor? But there's two of them, there's twins. I don't think it really matters, except they're kind of crazy. They keep talking about why they're crazy and why they're weird, except the only thing that they really do that is all that crazy, especially considering if you know anything about the end of Rome, is that one of them appoints a monkey as their first consul. Whatever, I don't know, it's weird. This movie does have a little bit of, not necessarily humor, but a little bit of silliness to it. And if you're looking at the end of the Roman Empire after Marcus Aurelius, and you're looking at Caligula, and you're looking at Nero, like, there was some really fucked up shit going on. There was some crazy stuff. And, I think the persecution of the Christians and the crucifixions, and the punishment, and the, when Caligula disbanded the Senate and tried to proclaim himself a god and all that sort of thing. I wanted a little bit of that in these two twin crazy emperors, because again, they were kind of just there for things to happen too, and not necessarily as a semblance of any real plot or any real intrigue or anything like that. The fight scenes are fine, like they're good, I guess. They keep cutting off, and I think that that's just how we do action movies now. We don't let the actors really show their stuff. Instead, we cut off and we see reactions and we see other things happening. None of the fight scenes really stuck out, except there is one cool scene where they reenact the naval battle, which I would have thought was absolutely insane. Like, there's no way that happened. But that actually did happen in the Colosseums. They staged naval battles. They flooded it, and they put there, I don't know about great white sharks. I've never read anything about great white sharks there, and I know you can't keep great white sharks in captivity. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent there. It was kind of like Ridley Scott saying, okay, I'm never going to do this again, so I'm going to throw in absolutely everything that I can think of. Connie Nielsen is great. She plays Lucilla. She determines, after basically Paul Mescal, Hano, I think his name is, and he recites some poetry, so she's like, oh, wait, that must be my son. And then she goes to see him, and this is going to be a really strange comparison, but if you remember the Ang Lee Hulk film, one of the biggest criticisms of that film, even though there's a lot, I love that movie, there's a lot to criticize, is that it's slow and it's too long. And one of the reasons for that is that they do things like showing Eric Bana as Banner riding his bike home from the lab, right? Like, why do we need that in the movie that's already too long? Well, they kind of do this in this movie because it does start to feel a little bit too long, and yet they still got scenes of like slow motion of people just standing there and staring into the sunset or whatever, or Connie Nielsen riding her horse from one location to another. I'm sorry, we could have just had the time skip and shown her in her house and then shown her in the Gladiator arena down in the pens, and we would have figured it out because we're not morons. But instead, they kind of put all of that in there, and maybe too much. There's a lot of scenes that feel really repetitive. After that, I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was a fine movie. It didn't have the weight. It didn't have the impact, I think, of the first one. But I think it was still a really good movie. So see it, stream it, or skip it. I think that this is a movie that is worth seeing in the theater. I think it's a big movie. However, man, if we're talking, $20 or whatever it is for a ticket, I don't know. I just don't know that this is quite there. It's not the spectacle. This isn't the cultural tentpole. We aren't going to be quoting the best quotes from the characters in this. We're just quotes from Maximus in the first movie, right? Like, there's not really anything new. You could go watch Spartacus or go watch Gladiator again and get the same experience. Oh, by the way, I don't know his name. I forget it right now. But the Gladiator trainer from Spartacus is also in this movie. I guess he can't get away from gladiators. And we can't get away from the Roman Empire because maybe this was also an allegory for the end of, or what we are currently seeing here in the States. I don't know. I'm being crazy here. And it's cold. I'm done. I appreciate you all. I will see you after the next movie. Hit the buttons and all that.